This is an Eyewitness News special report. Budget 93. From Broadcast Center in Edmonton, here's Daryl McIntyre.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight on Provincial Budget 93. Provincial Treasurer Jim Dinning is just about to stand up in the Alberta Legislature and deliver his budget address. We have had a chance to study the document already. We'll have the highlights for you right near the top of the speech. Then we will go live to the Alberta Legislature and have Jim Dinning's full speech, including his reasons for doing what he is planning to do. We have comprehensive coverage planned for you tonight over the next 60 minutes. Political specialist Bob McIntyre will be joining us a little bit later in the hour for reaction from the opposition parties and also from special interest groups. John Loveland is with the Eyewitness Live Eye. He'll get reaction from the streets. And business editor Pat Kiernan is in our studio with chartered accountant Scott Montgomery for expert analysis of tonight's budget. Now, keep in mind that the big priority for the provincial government and for Alberta Treasurer Jim Dinning heading into a provincial election is to ensure that the public of Alberta knows that they want to cut the deficit. He is standing up in the legislature now, so let's find out how he's planning to do it. And with the provincial treasurer about to begin the speech, let's give you some of the highlights of what Treasurer Jim Dinning is planning tonight. He will slash the provincial deficit, and he says that he's going to do it without tax increases. Health care, however, will take a big cut tonight. Spending cuts is the way he's planning to cut this deficit. Medicare fees are going to go up. We'll tell you how throughout the hour. Overall, there are a lot of spending cuts in this budget, and all but 3 government departments will see their budgets cut by Budget 93. Let's go to Jim Dinning, live at the Alberta Legislature now for Budget 93.
Mr. Speaker, Premier Ralph Klein's government has spent the past 5 months listening to Albertans.
All right, thanks, John. Jim Dinning, our provincial treasurer, is at the Alberta Legislature. We're going to let Scott Montgomery and Pat Kiernan chat to him for a little bit. Scott, Pat?
Mr. Dinning, Pat Kiernan here. You have promised to balance this budget by 1996, 1997. That's been promised before. What makes you think that you can do it this time?
Well, for one thing, Pat, Albertans said you've got to get a plan in place and show that you mean business. So we've put in place also the Deficit Elimination Act. It's a legislated requirement that the government, that the legislature cannot exceed the deficit targets that are spelled out in there, such that by the end of 96-97, we've eliminated the deficit.